welcome to Dom's Corner, everybody. I am your host, Dom Martino. This is the show, obviously, where we talk about entertainment and a little bit of life, too. But today, we are continuing the discussion with Star Wars, talking about Star Wars The Clone Wars, the animated flick that came out back in 2007. Today, I have my co-panelist here, Mr. Ian Schick. How you doing today, Ian?
I'm doing great, Dom. How are you doing?
Doing real well, man. It's great to see you. Great to be talking about Star Wars again in these really confusing times in the world. So, guys, listen, something different that we're going to be doing today with these Star Wars reviews. I don't typically clump news in with these, but the difference here is that we have 3 news stories that came out this week, all having to do with Star Wars. So, again, even in these confusing times, we have a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, so that's always very nice, and we hope that we can bring some joy to you today by talking about this flick. We revisited this thing. Ian, I typically let Adam go first, but Adam is not here today. So what are your overall thoughts of Star Wars The Clone Wars?
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot to say about it. I tried watching it again and getting a good grasp of how I felt about it, and seeing trying to see how what would be memorable about the movie, but nothing was memorable about this movie for me, unfortunately. This movie, in my opinion, could have been cut into a few episodes and spread throughout, and then they could have used something else from the Clone Wars series and made that a movie and sold that off as a movie. But I couldn't remember anything about this movie as a kid, and now I see why, because I can barely remember anything about it, and I just watched it 2 nights ago.
All right. For me, the first thing I'll ask you, Ian, is would it surprise you if I owned 4 editions of this film?
Yes, because it's bad.
No, I do not own 4 editions of this film.
Thank God.
I actually only own 1, but it is the Blu-ray copy of the film. So
understandable.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, and then I actually do have 2 action figures relating to this film, which I'll pull up here now. But I didn't get them because of this film. I got them because I love the Clone Wars series.
And Ahsoka's dope.
Yeah. So I got this little Anakin. These are like those Infinity figures.
Okay. Yeah. Those were kind of dope, actually.
Yeah. So I got this little Anakin one. Then I have this one I really love, Ahsoka Tano. So that's pretty cool. So that all kind of relates to this movie, but I mostly got them for the Clone Wars series, not this movie in particular. But then again, still a part of the story, and actually a couple essential things do happen in this movie that contribute to the story when you really break it down. But here's what I'll say. So this film came out back in 2007. I saw it in the theater when I was a kid. I remember really hating it so much that I actually really wanted to walk out of the theater at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't. I stuck around, but this is one of those movies that I actually wanted to walk out of the theater. That's how bored I was with it for whatever reason. Yeah, listen, I mean, this is Dave Filoni's feature directorial debut, I guess. So, I mean, there's that, and in Dave Filoni we trust. We all like Dave.
I love Dave.
But yeah, I mean, he's amazing. But for a first film, it's probably going to be a little rough, especially working in the animated world and all the pressure on him to get this right. And now that I watched the film, I look at it as an hour and a half ad for the Clone Wars series that was later going to come out. It basically is a commercial for that.
Yeah.
Listen, I rewatched it, and it was not easy to get through in some parts. And here's the thing I'll say, okay? I mean, it has 3 great moments, and I'll talk about that when we get into it. Because one of them is really pivotal for the series, and another one is just kind of amazing in Star Wars terms. So there's that. But the movie is, it's actually, for being as short as it is, it's actually incredibly slow paced. There's not a lot going on. It's cheesy as hell. There's that going on for it. I understand it's more geared toward children because it's animated, and I understand that. And like the Clone Wars has its moments, but it brings it around in a way where I feel like adults and children can enjoy it. And this film in particular, being the prelude to the series, it doesn't really do that. Now, one of the things that I want to mention that I find to be kind of interesting, I just kind of pointed this out to Ian. There's actually 2 episodes of the Clone Wars, if you're gonna watch it in linear fashion, you're supposed to watch before you put on this movie, and I find that to be kind of interesting. Did you watch the 2 episodes before the movie? As you were
No, I watched them after the movie.
okay, because
Um,
yeah,
I started watching it all out of order at first.
I gotcha. Because it does make sense when you watch them that way. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Because the 2 episodes that are that you're supposed to watch before this, which I think there's like 2 different episodes in season 3, I think is what it is, or something like that. Maybe there's one in season 3, one in season 1 that you're supposed to watch before this.
If I remember correctly, it was episode 1, season 3, and then actually I could pull this up for you if you want.
Yeah, maybe. But regardless,
it's season 2, episode 16, season 1, episode 16, and then the movie.
Okay. Yeah, so that's right. Definitely the way to watch the Clone Wars in general. If you ever go around to do it, I recommend watching it that way, because the first couple seasons become all that more rough if you're watching them out of order. So what I recommend is definitely watching them that way. And it makes a lot of sense when you watch those 2 episodes, because the thing with the 2 episodes you're supposed to watch prior is we're seeing Anakin Skywalker, but at this point, at that point, he doesn't have Ahsoka Tano. So when those episodes pop up in the series, you're just going to be confused because Ahsoka Tano's not really around. But I digress on that. Well, I'm gonna dive right in, man. I mean, the beginning of this film. Now, one of the things I like, and I like it in every Clone Wars episode, and it's something that really grew on me. Probably hated it as a kid, and probably threw me off. Is the guy that talks in the beginning of all of them? War against the Galactic Republic. I like that guy. I always like to read the opening crawls and just in all the other movies and think of that guy reading them. I get a laugh out of it, and I really do enjoy that about this movie. And the narrative is actually pretty cool. I mean, they're talking about in the beginning, they're talking about Count Dooku, and all this other stuff that's going on, and to kind of set up. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's really our first look into the Clone Wars, which the Clone Wars that were set up. It's really funny when you think about it, because Attack of the Clones was like a 2.5 hour advertisement for this movie, and then this movie's an extra 1.5 hour advertisement for the series. So it's like it seemed like they didn't really know what they were doing at this point, but
not at all.
Yeah. But because if this is like our glimpse at imagine if this was like our only glimpse at the Clone Wars, like we would have been so pissed off that we never got that animated series to like really expand them, because
honestly though, I'm sorry, go on. I didn't think about it like that. It would have been very upsetting to get this fucking movie, and then it's just like,
right,
here's nothing else.
Yeah, that's your glimpse at the Clone Wars. Like, you tease us with this movie and no other show. So, yeah, that would be awful. That would have been terrible. But thank God we got something else. But my point is in the beginning, they're setting up a really cool premise. A war on the Galactic Republic. No, I love that guy. Anyway, did I tell you how much I love that guy that talks at the beginning of this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
you did.
He's amazing.
Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. If you've ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, you probably watched Korra, Legend of Korra. A lot of the opening stuff that they do for Legend of Korra is that guy.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Which is fitting, because Legend of Korra is supposed to be like a 20s style, 20s style show.
Right. Yeah, well, that's what he sounds like. I mean, it sounds like what Lucas based Star Wars off of, which is these serials that would come out back then,
Yeah.
And but the so premise is cool in the beginning. You're talking about Dooku and all that kind of stuff, and his plot to kind of overtake this thing, and his apprentice. I mean, Asajj Ventress. I mean, you get this in that movie too, but we'll get into that too. So we're getting into all that. It's amazing. And then you got this main plot that's gonna drive our story, and then you go, oh man, this is a bummer, which is that Jabba the Hutt's son got kidnapped, and the Jedi have to go save Jabba the Hutt's son. Terrible premise for a movie, by the way. It's terrible because it's
a movie about babysitting.
Yes, that's what this movie is. It's not Star Wars. It's the fucking Babysitters Club. I mean, I don't know.
If I'm gonna watch a movie about babysitting, I'm gonna watch Pacifier and actually enjoy the movie.
Yeah, that's a fun movie, by the way.
It is.
Good reference. Why didn't they put that on Disney? No, I'm not gonna get into that. It's not on Disney Plus, and I'm upset.
Is that a Disney movie? I don't remember.
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that one was like some other company.
That was Disney. 100%.
What's that Jackie Chan movie where he's a babysitter?
Oh, that's not Disney. That's
not?
No.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. It's not Disney though.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But anyway,
I digress.
Yeah. But this babysitting plot, but whatever. So we're moving into, let's move into the beginning here. I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's in the sense that this is the other thing I wanted to say on my overall thoughts. And this is going to surprise you because I don't think that this is an awful movie. I just think that the plot that's driving it is awful. When it comes to this movie's overall structure though, it's got a good structure. It feels cohesive at the very least. One thing Filoni brought to the prequel universe is stories that were at the very least, even if they feel very much like filler, it's at least very cohesive. And the structure actually really works for it. And the pacing, I'm not going to lie here, man. I might actually watch this over Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones any day. I mean,
really?
That's a hot take, I know. But
I don't think I was big on Attack of the Clones, but Phantom Menace?
Yeah. Well,
Phantom Menace wasn't that boring.
I think it's pretty boring.
Fair
Adam
enough.
and I did a whole discussion on that, and after rewatching it before that review, whoo, buddy.
That's fair, man. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think I'll ever watch this movie again, honestly.
Yeah, it's good to place it. Well, listen, the only time I'll watch it again is if I'm placing it in when I'm doing a rewatch of the whole series. You know what I mean? That's the only other time I'll watch it again. You're right, because it feels less purposed. You know what I mean? And
it's babysitting,
right? So the purpose that drives it doesn't feel right. And I'll probably still watch Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace more, to be honest, because I typically do the movie marathons more often than I do the Clone Wars marathons. But so for that reason, I'll watch Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones more often. But I think in terms of the pacing and the structure, I'd probably rather watch this movie. I know that sounds crazy, but
that's so weird.
Yeah, I'll take this one in terms of that any day, and also because this beginning, and this is one of the things I wanted to get into. This beginning's pretty awesome because you got we're getting the Clone Wars are actually going on in the beginning, but my problem is with this movie is the meat of the action in the movie is it's in this beginning.
In the beginning,
it's in the first act, and then we stop for the longest period of time with it. But the Clone Wars look sick, in the beginning here, seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan going through with the sabers and ripping through these clones is pretty something. I mean, it really it looks good. I mean, that's what the Filoni and that's the other thing in terms of I know that you're not shooting the shots, but I'm saying shots in terms of the way they angle it, the animation, and all that kind of stuff. Those kind of shots are awesome. The way the framework in the Clone Wars is actually really, really good.
Which Filoni's fantastic at making animated films in general. It's just, like you said, the meat of the action's right at the beginning. Yeah. And it's you see it and you're like, damn, I really want more of this. And then they're just babysit now.
Well, pretty much they're watch the series and you'll get more of this stuff. That's what they're saying
Assholes.
here. And, you know,
Fucking assholes.
it's true. And it's like, I just, whatever. But the Clone War in the beginning, the actual clips of the Clone Wars that we got in this, really good stuff. I mean, it's great. And I'm glad it lasted at least a little while in the beginning. So there's
I
that.
agree.
And then you also have, I mean, well, we'll get into that a little bit later. But the other thing that's going on, I mean, we're getting, excuse me, so we get Ahsoka Tano coming in. I actually really enjoyed and that's one thing I'll say, because this is also our first introduction of Matt Lana as Anakin. And I forget who's the guy who voiced James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan. And these two actually do really well in those roles. I actually like Matt Lana at this point's version of Anakin more than I like Hayden Christensen's version of Anakin Skywalker. Like I like
I like the voice actor.
Yeah, he does a really good job. I mean, so there's another benefit to this movie, is we're at least getting very, in my opinion, much more tolerable rendition of the Anakin Skywalker character than in the prequel films. So that's always a benefit too.
I liked Hayden Christensen.
I know you do. I've said it, dude. I've said this a billion times. I probably sound like a broken record. I really don't like him in Attack of the Clones. I think he improved greatly by the time we got to Revenge of the Sith. So,
See, I could get that.
Yeah,
I can get that.
Yeah, and I talked about that in the review. It was like, and Adam agreed, and we both said that it's noticeably better in Revenge of the Sith, his acting. It was like he took some classes between the two movies and figured out how to act better. It's at least a passable performance in 3. But anyway, Attack of the Clones, though, Matt Landa's version is my favorite rendition of the character. Like, he really makes the character more likable, adds a lot of levity to the character, that's for damn sure. I understand Anakin turns into Darth Vader, so maybe he doesn't need to be likable, but I like him likable, if that makes sense. And then
I like even my unlikable characters likable.
Yeah. One of the highlights here. Yeah, I do too, though. I know what you mean by that. Like, there is a sense of truth to what you said. But
King Joffrey.
Well, he's very unlikable, but
he does so good. I like him.
You like to hate him, you know.
Yeah.
And one of the great things, though, in the beginning of this movie, and this is one of the more significant things to the Clone Wars storyline, is the introduction to Ahsoka Tano. And I actually really like the banter between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan saying, that his new apprentice should be coming, and then it was like it pretty much seemed like it was all a setup to get Anakin a new apprentice, because they thought it'd be good for him. I found that to be pretty hysterical, and it really builds a lot of the past that we see. I mean, you can watch the series and get more of it, but it's starting to build that past that we saw in Revenge of the Sith. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell the characters have this really long history together in Revenge of the Sith of just going on missions together and throughout the Clone Wars. And now we're starting to get an introduction to that quite a bit here. I also really like, and then Ahsoka comes out, and listen, I mean, Ahsoka Tano is one of my favorite characters in the entirety of the Star Wars universe. She's in my top 5 favorite Star Wars characters. In this movie, she is annoying as fuck. Like,
agreed.
In this movie, I'm not trying to like bash Ashley Eckstein as a voice actress. I just don't think that she had enough experience at this point to be able to play the character. And the other thing is, they're not really giving the character a lot to do throughout this film. Ahsoka is, I like the idea of her becoming Anakin's apprentice and Anakin taking on an apprentice. In its concept,
I love that.
That is an amazing thing. Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing to find out that piece of information. But especially when you get to the end of the Clone Wars, which, Ian, I know you've been binging a lot of Star Wars, you'll get there eventually, but when you get to that ending of the Clone Wars series, I mean, where Ahsoka starts and Ahsoka ends up in that, it's like, it's really
watching,
an incredible contrast. Yeah, you saw Rebels, right?
Yeah, Rebels. I liked her character so much. I mean, honestly, I could have done with more of her in that show.
Yeah, it's amazing too. Like, and this is where I'll really give Ashley Eckstein credit. Like, this is what I'm trying to say is, like, in that show, it's Ashley Eckstein voicing her, and clearly she made an effort to make the character at least sound older in that show and more mature by a long shot.
Oh yeah.
And here she sounds like a little baby. I am Ahsoka Tano. It's like, oh man. And then it's like, the one thing that adds a little levity to this is like Anakin's clearly annoyed by her throughout it too. So I'll at least give it
Yeah.
that. So thank God. But then it's like,
Okay.
yeah,
I apologize. You keep saying her name. I'm like, why does that name sound familiar? She's been in a couple things that I've seen. Like only yesterday, I believe I watched that. She does a lot of voice acting.
yeah, she does. She definitely does. Oh yeah, she's done
That's
anime.
awesome.
She's done like anime and yeah, she's
It
definitely
looks
done a
like
lot of
the
voice acting.
looks like the only anime she's done has been only yesterday. So she's probably like a little
Oh,
kid whenever she did that one.
okay. I thought she did a lot more than that, but okay.
No,
Um,
sorry.
no, you're fine. Well, she does a lot of animation, I think, and so like,
It's all the same, to be honest with you.
I guess. Well, when you really look at like Clone Wars and Rebels, I mean, they follow kind of an anime type structure in a way, right? Too. I mean, they're not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't call them anime, but they take influence from anime. You can tell. Like Dave Filoni is a massive anime fan, so it's gonna come from that. It's
that's probably why I love him.
he's no genuinely me too. And I mean, I'm not the biggest anime. I don't hate anime. I just haven't taken the time to get into as much as say you.
I will
Um,
send you a list.
all right. So it's not so much that I dislike it, it's just more or less that like, but I understand that like that the strength of the storytelling in anime, and I think Filoni understands that too. Maybe not in this movie in particular, but in general, we've seen Filoni understand the strength in world building and storytelling, which I think definitely comes a lot from anime, and also comes in part from George Lucas, which was pretty much his mentor through the process of making the Clone Wars. So, but this movie though, this plot is quite something. I mean, it's not good. I mean, seeing Asajj Ventress, like, it was cool to get the contrast, like Count Dooku's taking on an apprentice too,
Yeah,
in Asajj Ventress. So that stuff is also cool. It's some of the darker stuff in Star Wars, and it's all really awesome to see. So I like seeing Asajj, but moving into it, this movie just, again, the plot just drags. I mean, Obi-Wan taking on this stupid sequence where Obi-Wan has to make that distraction with the dude, and they're having like some tea party. It's like these scenes are so dumb. Padme in
it
this movie is also very annoying. Like, I like Padme throughout the Clone Wars series, but in this movie she's just incredibly annoying.
pointless. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. Like the scene with him sitting down with the enemy, like that was definitely an Obi-Wan move, but it's just like
Yeah, like the
they
movie.
made it way too kiddish.
Yeah, like it was consistent with his character in terms of what he was doing. It's not so much the things that they're doing. It's and not even, well, it is some of the things they're doing. I take that back. It's no, like the idea of Obi-Wan stalling like somebody and distracting them is fine, but the way they did, like, it was like they're having like an English tea party or something. It's like, what movie am I watching? Um so there's
Not a
all
good
that
one.
kind of stuff. Yeah, there's all that kind of stuff that's going on. And it's just, but the other thing is his pacing too is kind of dragging quite a bit in these moments, in these middle moments. I mean, yeah, there's plots in here, there's things, but they're all kind of, and it's structured really well. Like everything that Dave was trying to cram into this movie, it's all structured like so incredibly well that it fits and it works, and I gotta give him credit on that. Like, again, this is why I like it better than Phantom and Attack of the Clones, because it's structured well. My problem is the fact that it's just not interesting. You know what I mean? Again, it's this movie is just not interesting. So they go to get this little Job of the Hut thing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in between this. I mean, Anakin's trying to show Ahsoka stuff. Ahsoka's, I mean, obeying his orders or disobeying the orders, and whatever. It's cool. It's a parallel to Anakin and Obi-Wan, which is why Anakin can relate to the kid at the time. But what she called this stupid. This was one of the dumber things in there. I they find this kid, and shouldn't she call him like Stinky or something like that? And it's like,
yes.
what?
It's a kid movie, man. I mean,
this one was geared toward children, and like I'm not trying to bash it, but
you gotta please both crowds, man. You can't just be like Stinky.
and there's moments again
Name
that
it
do.
Name it little bastard or little fatty.
Yeah. And there's moments again that do, but it's just like, man, I just feel like the way they did things in the series was just far more well planned and it was just like, there were things in here that were just such throwaway things. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
agree.
throwaway characters, throwaway everything. Like, Padme Amidala was a throwaway character in this movie. She really was. Like,
She was filler.
yeah. She's in there. I feel like she was not in the series. I'm not talking about the Clone Wars series, so everybody understands that.
No.
Like, it's like my feelings on the characters in this movie, it should not affect my. It doesn't affect my opinions in the series. We'll do the series reviews another time. Like we'll do the seasons
After I finish it.
Yeah, we'll get around to that. Which that's something else I wanted to talk about today too. We'll just real quick do this just so you guys know. So the game plan. For the next, I guess 6 weeks now. So next week it's going to be Solo. The week after we're going to do Rogue One. We'll have more people back for those. And then the 4 weeks after that, we're going to do all 4 seasons of Rebels. So you guys look forward to that. And then, and that'll be probably just Ian and I on the Rebel seasons. I might get a couple other people in here. We'll see. I'm gonna talk to some people, but yeah. So for those that'll be Ian and I at least, and then by that time Mandalorian will be over. We'll do the Mandalorian season 2 spoiler review. So yeah. So that's what's gonna be going down for the next 6 weeks here, I guess. Anyway, so this movie again, so like, yeah, so they got this kid. She names it Stinky. You can't say that without laughing.
I hate my life.
You can't say that without laughing, and like, she is so annoying throughout this movie. You bitch about Rose in Last Jedi, man, but like, come on, this
character is way worse.
Yeah, in this movie.
Yeah,
you always gotta specify that we just don't like Ahsoka in this movie, and you know, Ashley Eckstein has since admitted that, you know, they were probably not doing the best things with this character in the beginning either. Like, so even she understands that. Man, I don't even know. I don't even know at this point, man. This movie just really goes just down some weird routes. I hated the interactions with Jabba the Hutt, you know, even like, you know, this is the whole thing. They're gonna send the Jedi. I mean, wasn't that like Palpatine's idea or something too, which I find to be incredibly strange, that he cares this much about Jabba the Hutt that he's gonna send, you know, his 2 best Jedi out to get his son because Count Dooku has him kidnapped. Isn't that like supposed to be like the twist of the movie too? Is like,
at this point I have no clue.
I think the twist of the movie is like Count Dooku has him kidnapped, is the one that had him kidnapped, which leads into some awesome stuff, which I'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, there's all that. I mean, now the one thing I gotta say again is like when you get around to like Dooku, Palpatine, and Ventress like all having their interactions, that stuff is great too. That's some of the other great moments too, is like Dooku, Palpatine, and Ventress all having their interactions. We also get some more Clone Wars stuff in this, like just the Clone Wars. I mean, yeah. So it's always awesome to watch the clones fight. Why? I got a question though. Like,
what's up?
They had this idea to basically make this hour and a half ad, and I
think that was just George Lucas. Let's be honest, because we've seen what Filoni can do.
It's true though. Like, Lucas was more involved in the Clone Wars process in the beginning than he was toward the end, you know? But the thing is like, and yeah, you're right. He probably took the reins just a little bit too much on this. And like, listen, I've said this before too. Like George Lucas as a storyteller is awesome, but when it comes down to his ethics of execution, it's not all that great. And the thing is, and he's awesome as a storyteller. Filoni, everything Filoni knows, he pretty much learned from Lucas when it comes to storytelling. I feel like.
I personally feel like what George Lucas did with this film is he looked at it and he thought, maybe I should be a little bit more businessman with this, and that was the wrong decision, because I feel like people would have. I feel like a lot of people didn't watch the Clone Wars series because of this movie.
Yeah. It's possible.
I feel like he should. I really do. I feel like they should have introduced Ahsoka Tano, yes, and I feel like they should have went a different route instead of this whole Jabba the Hutt thing, because that could have been side story filler that still includes cool things, but it's not anything that's like, yeah, this is supposed to be a feature film.
It is a business move because again, you're trying to gear it toward children. So it is a business move to do that, definitely. And the other thing that I'll point out here is that how do I put this? Like, Filoni is new at this point too.
Yeah.
He's very new to the game, so we don't actually know who to blame these bad decisions on.
When did that film come out?
This one is 2007, so this is the year after Revenge of the Sith.
This film came out before Avatar: The Last Airbender started. Wait, no, it would have came out after.
No, yeah.
Are you sure?
Well, Filoni was on Airbender, but like Filoni started Airbender and didn't stay on Airbender. He just kind of came up with like a lot of the ideas of it. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, because it started airing in 2005. So at this point, I feel like he definitely had a lot of good ideas. And then,
well, no, it's not that he didn't. It's just like, okay, but there's a big difference between being the creative head on something and then being the director on a feature film, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what I'm trying to say is like, Filoni might say, okay, and he does this a lot, to be fair to Lucas here, because Filoni does this a lot too, even in his series. And if you watch the Clone Wars, I mean, and you've seen it in Rebels, like there are episodes where he's like, I feel like I need to gear it toward kids more here in the beginning to evolve to that point.
And that's okay.
And I feel like he just did that tenfold here, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I really like was Adventure Time, and Adventure Time does a fantastic job of gearing it towards kids and then growing with them.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, and it's actually a really good strategy when you break it down. Yeah.
Naruto did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to, and I will let you know.
Okay, I'll watch it with you.
All right. But back to this though.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just trying to say that. And the other thing too, and it could be George being business savvy, because when you really break down what he was doing with the prequels, I mean, as much as I gripe on the prequels, like George did take a lot of risks with those in the storytelling, because he's really trying to expand a world in a way that's like insane, because he's trying to shove so much into them. You know what I mean? Story wise, didn't work out in my opinion at the end. But I'm thinking like, so for this one, yeah, he was probably like, if my company's gonna make this animated film, this is gonna be the foyer into animation. We're going to definitely make this more structured, more bogged down, more for kids, and we're going to try this and see if we can squeeze some money out of it. It is a cash grab, essentially, when you look at it that way, unfortunately.
Bionicles.
And then we're going to Bionicles. I remember those.
I do too.
Boy, oh boy, they were cool toys, but
cash grab.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is almost like a very long, drawn out filler episode of Clone Wars. I mean, these middle moments this is what you're watching essentially, and there's no concept behind it that can really hold it together. But
there's only one constant it doesn't hold it together, and it's called Stinky.
But what I do love, and this is something you can see from Dave throughout this entire film, he's still planting the seeds to set up for later things in the Clone Wars series in this film.
That's one thing I love about Dave.
Yeah, like he's always planting those seeds, man. He knows, like, I might use this later, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's so evident here. He plans ahead, like, regardless of, he's like, I got to make sure somehow I got to put this story beat in here so we can set up to do that later. You know what I mean?
Well, what's cool about that is even if he plants a seed, you like, if you ever watch Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, even though I know, he apparently didn't stay on those. I thought he did.
No, he really just, like, again, he's one of the creators, like, in concepts and things like that. So
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one thing I do want to say is they'll plant those seeds, and if they never get the chance to fully, like, be like, you know what, we're gonna use this again, they'll still cut it off in some way. They'll show you how it ended in some like shape or form.
Right.
They never leave open doors.
No. That's one thing Filoni doesn't do, is leave open doors. He's always,
and I love that.
He's very, like, he's gonna tie up his loose ends.
That's one of my favorite things about a show.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The other thing I want to give credit to here in this movie, and Witwer does a lot of great voice work. Sam Witwer, his voice work for Palpatine in this is really good.
I agree.
He's really incredible at that. He's pretty spot on with it, and he also, for those of you who don't know, I mean, Sam Witwer also, not in this movie, but he voices Maul in all the animated stuff too.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's a really incredible voice talent. So I'm just saying, like, we don't have Ian McDiarmid doing the voice here. So for Sam Witwer to step into those shoes to try to do justice to it, like, he did a good job in this movie with that.
Who is Ian McDiarmid, the one who played Maul in the movie?
Palpatine.
Oh, okay,
right. Because Maul's not in this, but he's,
Ray Park was the one, right?
Oh, Ray Park in the movies, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Witwer voiced Maul in the shows and in Solo. When they did Solo, they had Ray Park. They had Ray Park voicing the lines, or mouthing the lines, but Sam Witwer said the lines in the Solo movie, because his voice is just, over the course of time with the animated stuff, his voice has just become the more iconic Maul, and the one I prefer myself.
Was Maul in Solo?
Yeah.
I don't remember him.
Yeah.
I'm stupid. I'm gonna have to rewatch Solo.
Well,
I don't remember.
That's next week's podcast, so you definitely do need to rewatch Solo. You serious?
I'm serious. I don't remember him in there at all.
That's like the big holy shit moment in the theater.
How do I not remember that?
Oh yeah. Well, we definitely have stuff to discuss when you rewatch
Yes, we
this.
do. Yes, we do. Let's continue. I'm sorry.
Actually, we have stuff to discuss at the end of the show, because I wanted to bring something up about that at the end, so we'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah. So let's move into this third and final act, which is really, to me, where the meat of the story comes in. We really skipped over this middle act because there's not a lot of substance, and I want to make sure that everybody understands that we're not half-assing this because it's animated. We're half-assing this because they half-assed it when they created it, essentially, in terms of the substance that's in it. There's really not a lot to talk about. I mean, we can go into, yeah, sure, it's building the credit, it's building the relationship between Anakin and Ahsoka. It's the first steps. Yes, all that stuff is great. If you want me to nitpick annoying lines in there, I could probably spend
I don't want you to at all.
I could spend 12 hours on it. That's why I'm not going to do that kind of thing. And I also understand that it was geared toward children this time around, far more than it has been before. So I also don't want to, like,
Quick interjection.
Yeah.
We we could do Moana and have way more to talk about. And I love Moana. I'll be honest
100%,
about you.
100%.
We'd have so much more to talk
Oh, I
about. This
love
movie is
Moana
just,
too. Moana's awesome.
it is.
We'll
It's
do
a
that one day.
fantastic
We'll do
film.
that one day.
I'm about that. It's just this film that we're talking about currently. It's just not. It's not substantial.
No.
It's doesn't have any substance to it.
I wouldn't say none, but for the most part, yeah, it's none. Like it
Not
really
for a movie.
the second act of the movie, this middle act, you're right. There's really no substance going on there. I mean, again, Dave's planting seeds for stuff to do later. That's all throughout the film. He's setting up his characters, but this is really what this is. It's a setup movie. It is a commercial for something that's going to happen later. It is. It's a commercial movie. There's nothing wrong with saying it. It's the truth. I mean, that they
Really.
were trying to think business savvy, as you said, and they probably did because the Clone Wars series ended up being successful in the long run, right? So they probably were very smart about doing the movie for that reason and making it a theatrical release. But like I said, at the end of the day, and they screwed up stuff with even going into the series too. I mean, and I'm not trying to judge it too hard for that because they had to feel all this stuff out, right? I mean, they did the series and did it in such a random ass non-linear order until they figured out, oh, if we do it in order, kids will actually understand what's going on. And
Look,
I'm not trying to say that like they're stupid. I think that they really thought that it wouldn't matter because only kids are watching this. But I think they found out that like adults were watching it too, and that kids would actually get it because kids were really getting into the storylines, right? I mean, they would probably look on the internet, see kids talking about the story in depth, and they're probably like, "Oh boy, like they really are into the story," which is where I feel like Dave probably got to take the reins even more on Clone Wars and hit his stride in the series, right? And like really start to tell a very cohesive linear story. Anyway, going back to the movie though, what were you gonna say?
all I have to say is, I mean, like even I didn't understand. So going from the movie to the series, I was just like, okay, so why are we at Yoda now? Like, where did we leave off? Like, did I miss
It's
something?
non-linear when you start season one. Exactly. It's
Not at all.
it's all out of order for the most part. Until you get till midway through season 3 and you're golden, and then it's all like you could tell they made the shift for good reason. And yeah, I mean, Dave really, when push came to shove with that series, right? Because I feel like when you're watching that for the first time in linear order, the series, like you're really like at the point where you're like, something better start going down or I'm gonna drop out of this. And you can tell it's like right there. It's like Dave's like took the reins, man, and flipped it on its head and made this like some of the best Star Wars you'll ever see.
He was like, okay, listen, Lucas, you gotta stop.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Sorry.
No, he didn't say that to George.
I know he did it. There's no way.
Dave worships George, man. He really does, and God bless him for it. Listen, but this ending though, this is some of the stuff I really want to praise in this movie that Dave actually did right because when it comes to like, okay, so first of all, we get some really awesome Tatooine visuals at the ending here. You get the shot of Anakin and Ahsoka standing in front of the twin sons having that conversation was some really, really awesome stuff.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then we get into what I think is like what I like to consider the meat of the story. Really, they're trying to drive it around this child plot, but like this is Dave planting his big seeds, man. And we get Anakin and it really ties into, the Revenge of the Sith thing, but what matters more to me in this conversation is Attack of the Clones. The Anakin and Dooku lightsaber fight at the end of this movie is such redemption for that one they had in Attack of the Clones. Because if you imagine the one they have at the end of Attack of the Clones, which is one of the most terribly shot lightsaber duels I've ever seen in Star Wars. It really is shot very terribly. Like it's messy, it's quick, it's really unfulfilling. If you imagine that, right? Like they have that duel together in Attack of the Clones, and then you just take that duel and then lead into the one they have in Revenge of the Sith, which is far more epic. and you're like, and you leave Attack of the Clones, you're thinking back to Attack of the Clones, like, yeah, but that last fight they had was so boring, so I'm not as excited about the rematch. Well, what Dave Filoni managed to do in this movie, and this is why it's the best sequences in the movie, is say, no, 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 I'm going to show you. They had a fight before Revenge of the Sith that was far more epic than what you got in Attack of the Clones. And you're watching this fight like, this is amazing. Like, and this is one of the things in this movie, man, Dave did right. I mean, the fight between Anakin and Dooku was on point, and it's more consistent with what George did in Revenge of the Sith. Like that thing that they built in this movie, the communication between the two of them was far better. I don't know, Ian, what do you got?
I don't even remember it. I'm not
What?
going to lie to you. I don't remember any of it. This movie was not memorable for me, and I wish
wow.
it was.
Wow.
I don't remember that. And I was paying attention to it too.
I don't know,
I
man.
wasn't just putting my bed away. I was watching the movie as I was doing things. Like I'd put the screws into my bed and I was like, while I was screwing, I was just like watching.
Dude, I'll tell you, man, really pay attention to this Dooku Anakin fight. Like, if you go back to the movie to watch one moment of it,
I'll
really
do
pay
this.
attention to this, because it's like, and think about, all right, when you rewatch it, think about the implications it has on Revenge of the Sith, because like when you really think of it that way, it's like this really sets up that real tension that they had in Revenge of the Sith, and which I feel like Attack of the Clones really failed to do. And so this is one of those brilliant things that Dave Filoni managed to do in this film. And the other thing is, it's all being intercut with this Ahsoka moments. You know what I mean? She's fighting these like well, I guess they're what are they? They're like sand people, but they're really not. They're like, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have the technical name for that right now. But whatever she's fighting, it's a dope fight. It's really cool. And I like that. I like the struggle that Anakin's having to go back to Tatooine too. That's another thing that Dave really sets up in this movie, is Anakin is just struggling like crazy to really be back at his home planet where he just watched his mother die, and it's the stuff that Dave sets up in this movie really well, and it actually really makes me feel something when I'm watching all this kind of stuff. And so Dave, like, at the very least, he managed to move me in moments of this movie emotionally, and then that's a really big accomplishment. Because that's something that George didn't manage to do in any of them except Revenge of the Sith, or not any of them, I'm sorry, in the prequel era, except for Revenge of the Sith. So he's putting at least some story elements that happened before Revenge of the Sith that really started to move me. And it's really, I guess, what would pique your interest by the time you get into the Clone Wars series, because once you see, it's like, okay, well, he is a storyteller. He does have ideas that really work. Needless to say, there is one really bad moment I wanted to point out, and it's the moment where they're climbing up that cliff and all that techno music is going on. Bad choice for a Star Wars score. They should never put techno music back in Star Wars ever again.
I remember that, and that was very, very off-putting and very, very disappointing.
What's interesting is like they've made modern, like, more contemporary type music choices in the animated stuff later on, like, and it's worked out so much better. But for some reason, the placement of the techno music in this movie just felt like it jumped at you.
Did not drive.
Yeah. I'm not saying never use techno type music in Star Wars again, because like sometimes I can see it working, that influence working, but for just the choice of the song that they used and all that, like, it was so weird. It was so weird and off color and off beat. But yeah, like I said, guys, and this breakdown was never really going to be as long and as in depth as the other two, because again, there wasn't as much substance in this film, but it's kind of fun to revisit and talk about for, just the
whatever reason,
for the purposes of just it's Star Wars, and it's always fun to watch a Star Wars movie, right? So at the end of the day, Regardless of how bad it is, it's like a bad Star Wars movie is still like a good movie. You know what I mean? Because it's Star Wars. It's like it always ends up. It's like even if it's a bad Star Wars movie, that's still a good movie in standard terms to me. So that's
Animation wise, they did great with this movie.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say about this movie. That's my takeaway from this movie.
Yeah, I mean the animation is really good. They pumped a lot of money into it. It looks better than the prequels because with the prequel movies what they basically did is because what you had with the prequels is it looked like you had animation inside, and you did inside of live action, and so it just didn't mesh. So when you have a consistent animation, I'm down with it. When you have consistent CGI throughout it, it doesn't feel unbalanced, and I'm much more down with it. Now, another thing I want to hand to this movie is that is basically like, obviously it's a risk because this is the first thing they're doing they released outside of this Skywalker saga that wasn't the Skywalker saga, right? You know what I mean? Like, it had this Skywalker in it, but when I think about it,
it touches base on the complete lore.
Yeah, and you'll see this, Ian, but like when you get to the end of the Clone Wars series, it's Ahsoka's story, and that's the thing that, like, Filoni sets up at the beginning here is like, this is going to become Ahsoka's story. The Clone Wars series is about Ahsoka Tano. Like, Anakin might be in it, but it's not his story. It's Ahsoka Tano's story.
Anakin in this is essentially Kanan.
Yeah, exactly. The only difference with Clone Wars is it's not as focused on the main characters. It's more like Game of Thrones, where it's far more expansive. And so, like, there might be an episode where you don't really see Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars series, which I'm okay with, because they did that in Game of Thrones for, like, the first 2 seasons. You hardly saw Jon Snow, but Jon is the main character in that series. But you get my drift, I think. Ahsoka is who this story is about. Are you frozen there? Or oh no, you're moving. Okay.
No, sorry.
I think you froze for just like a second, like it kind of got pixelated. But no, my point is this is Ahsoka's story, and it was a big risk for them, Lucasfilm, to jump outside of the Skywalker saga at the time, and so I'm just incredibly happy that they did. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten some of the more expansive things that we got in canon today. So it's really quite exciting to have this movie for that reason. But
I'm going to be honest with you. I'd rather just watch Jimmy Neutron's movie. I'd rather watch the Clone Wars series over the Jimmy Neutron series.
Right.
But when it comes to movies, I'd rather just watch the Jimmy Neutron movie.
I understand. Yeah. But anyway, what are your final thoughts on the film?
I think I just gave it right there.
Okay.
I mean, it's a decent film. I'm not going to completely shit on it. I'm not going to be I'm not going to be sweet to Mark about it.
Yeah.
Like how he was on episode 8. I just don't think there's any substance to this movie other than the opening, and I do have to agree with Dom on the ending. There's just not much to this movie I'm just huge on.
Yeah.
If I'd rather watch Pacifier if I'm going to watch a babysitter movie.
Yeah. One other thing I want to make sure I mention too is, it was a touching moment to see Anakin come around to Ahsoka at the end here when they, because they basically gave him an out. They said, do you not want the Padawan? Do you not accept your Padawan? And he said,
I remember this.
Yeah, and he's like, she's not so bad, pretty much. And I thought that was touching, despite her being very annoying in this series, or in this movie. I'm sorry. The series, she's fantastic, and once they evolve her.
Let's be honest, though. As a kid character, kids are always fucking annoying.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's consistent, but
I'm around kids 24/7 because of my job and also my niece and nephew. Kids are just blatantly annoying.
Yeah.
I love my niece and nephew, but they can be annoying.
They can be, for sure. I don't know your niece and nephew, but just kids in general. But
yeah, no, I got you.
Yeah, man, it was nice to revisit for nostalgia purposes. At least at the end of the day, it's only an hour and a half or so, so it's not like you're stuck watching something for ages. But
Yeah,
yeah, so like if this was like 3 hours, that would have been torture. But
I wouldn't have done it. I'm gonna lie to you. I would not be on this podcast tonight.
right, um, 3 hours for any other Star Wars movie, I'm down with. But like if you were to expand those, but like this is like no. But anyway, yeah, nice little filler episode. This is what it feels like for the Clone Wars series, and that's what we got here. It's a commercial, folks. So yeah, that is actually the review portion of the show. And as a bonus, we're going to talk about 3 Star Wars news stories that came out today, just to give you guys a little bit more to look forward to in this crazy time in the world. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to that review. And more importantly, what does everybody who's watching the show think about the Clone Wars animated movie? I'm sure there's differing opinions on it. Mark, who's been on the show multiple times, really enjoys this flick. So, you know, let's get some of your guys' opinions. All right, Ian. So let's talk about 3 different news stories we got. Don't know which one I want to bring up first, but I think I'm actually going to start with this Ron Howard thing because I think it's the less significant.
I'd say start with the less significant and lead into the most significant one at the last.
Right. So for this Ron Howard story, so Ron Howard, he's been asked about a Solo 2. Is he going to direct a Solo 2? Basically, his statement, and I'm paraphrasing, but this is essentially what he said, is that seems to have gotten, he says that there's no plan for one. There is no script. However, the movie lost money. We got to remember that when it came out. This is the only Star Wars movie to ever lose money.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of it's not the movie's fault. I mean, it's more.
It wasn't Skywalker.
No, because Rogue One made a killing.
That's true. I forgot about that.
And the thing with this is, to me, it's about the fact that they spent. Well, they had Chris Lord and who's that? The guys that did the 21 Jump Street movies. Lord Miller, Christopher Lord and Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. I'm sorry. Were the original directors on Solo, and once Disney saw what they were doing, they didn't appreciate the direction they were going with it, so they decided to hire in Ron Howard last minute, reshoot 80% of this movie, which was crazy expensive, and that's really, at the end of the day, why this movie lost money. If they had stuck with the original budget, this movie wouldn't have tanked financially. But Ron Howard's saying this. If there's something we're going to be optimistic about, is that Solo has actually generated more popularity after its theater run, and fans are really optimistic about wanting a second film. And listen, man, I mean, seriously, like, I don't want a second Solo. I got to be honest with you. And I'll talk about that here in a second when we get to the
half and half.
Second portion of Ron Howard's statement. And this is where it gets really interesting. Is he said, there's no plans for a Solo 2. But, and he kind of gave us a little bit of the behind the scenes of what's going on at Lucasfilm here. He did say that they have a lot of interest in the characters that were set up in Solo. So if you don't get a Solo sequel movie, that doesn't mean we're not going to get the Darth Maul and Kira show on Disney Plus. You know what I mean? And to me,
I'd pay for that.
To me, that's what I want. You want to know what I want? I want everybody's begging for live action Darth Maul, right? Make the Darth Maul and Kira story. The ending of this movie, and I know you just didn't remember Maul was in this movie, but the ending of this movie was a literal cliffhanger. Kira ended up hooking up with Maul. It turned out that she was in cahoots with him the entire time. And
I can't think of who that is.
Yeah,
Kira?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Han's girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or was his girlfriend, then you know what happened. But but my point is she was in cahoots with Maul the whole time. because she's playing the game, essentially trying to work her way to the top just to survive. And so she's working with Maul. So what's going to end up happening here? And Maul says, "Meet me on Dathomir." That's what I want to see out of these solo characters. I want to see Kira and Maul. I want to see the series where Kira goes and meets Maul on Dathomir, and I want to see where they end up. And we see Maul in Rebels. He's all kind of beaten and torn down there. And my question is, who left him that way? Had to be Kira, I'm thinking. Somehow, some way. She left him abandoned, and that's how we see him that way in Rebels. Ian, what do you think? Solo 2, or would you just rather see something with some of the characters? Maul and Kira.
Maul. Hold on. Have you ever seen the movie The Foundation, The Fundamentals of Caring?
Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, that's right.
Ma. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Ma.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. I want to see Maul and Kira. Amelia Clarke, that's Kira. Yeah, so I would love to see Kira or Amelia Clarke step into a Star Wars series with Maul, and it will have Maul and Daenerys Targaryen together. That would be wonderful. That would be like the dream. And like
Maul.
Genuinely, of everybody that was set up in the Solo series, I think that Kira was to me, like the new characters, I guess, like Kira was the most interesting to me. So yeah, I want to see this go down, and I think that it would really work out well and bode well for the fans.
Look, I am a Donald Glover dick rider. I'm going to be honest with you, and I would love to see him play more Lando.
I'm sure he could intertwine with it somehow.
I would love to see him play more Lando.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him play more in the Spider-Man universe as well, but we won't get into that one.
Yeah, I mean, an Orlando series isn't a bad idea either with Donald Glover. That's not
even just idea. Like a short TV series. I would love.
Well, like what they're gonna do with Obi-Wan, the limited series. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a great
I thought that was gonna be a movie
series, limited series, 6 episodes. Yep. So
I'm cool with that. I would love that.
Oh yeah, you get more time to tell a story and expand it. I mean, yeah. That's why I say, give me the series, man. We have so much more time to, expand the lore, and it's awesome, man. And you feel so much more emotionally attached to these stories by the time you're done with the season, rather than an hour and a half movie where we didn't spend as much time with characters and fall in love with them the way we do and get attached. But let's move into the second news story here. So this is something it's going to sound nuts. Okay, so they announced a couple months back that they're going to be doing the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. We have seen how Star Wars Holiday Specials do. And that is not very well. To quote George Lucas, if I had a hammer and every single copy of the VHS tape of the Star Wars Holiday Special, I would smash it up and make sure nobody ever saw it again. That's George Lucas's words, because he is not proud of that Star Wars Holiday Special because it was bad. But anyway, so
I'm sure Mark Hamill is not happy about it either.
You're right. But the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special is something a little different. Now, listen, I was not excited about this when I heard the announcement. I watched this trailer. I gotta tell you guys, looks like a lot of fun. Obviously, it's not going to be canon, because the Lego stuff, when they do Star Wars in the past, never is canon. It's not supposed to be. And one of the things that I think Lego has done a good job with, if you're talking about the Lego movie or Lego Batman movie, is that they've done a good job of poking fun at some of these bigger franchises, and also being able to really understand their lore all at the same time. And I find that to be kind of cool. The way that they do these things. And what I like about this is it's almost a celebration of Star Wars. And it's going to be a really nice way to spend Christmas, I hope. Rey essentially, I like this premise. I think it's cool. Rey gets this key to travel back through time. She's traveling back through every single event we've seen in Star Wars, up until the end. And I think that's a really, really cool idea, just for fun. It's like a what if scenario. What if Rey got the ability to travel back through time through all these other Star Wars scenarios. I like the clip of Kylo shirtless because I think that's very funny. They're poking fun at it. I like it, man. I'm good with this. Ian, what'd you think of the trailer for the holiday special?
It was a little bit too kiddish for me, but all in all, I mean, honestly, I might actually watch this movie. I'm
Mhm.
not big on the Lego series whatsoever for anything,
Yeah,
but I might actually watch this just for the shits and giggles of watching it.
yeah,
Outside of that, I mean, I do know that the same people who made the Spider-Man into Spider-Man Spider-Verse movies, they made a lot of the Lego movies, so I'm down to give it a shot
yeah.
because I loved Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, I'm excited about it too, man. I think that this is gonna really go well. I think this is a really fun thing to release on Disney Plus. This could be one of the more rewatchable things we get on Disney Plus, depending on how fun or funny it is. Yeah, I think it's all really interesting. I'm excited about this. For sure, I think it's got a lot of potential. A really cool premise. It's see the thing is that's the other thing too with the time travel plot. And poking fun at all the Star Wars movies. Like your premise writes itself almost. You know what I mean? As long as you're somebody who can make good movies and execute them well, your premise here really writes itself. It's a really good idea for a what if type of scenario for Lego. But yeah, I'm
I
excited.
liked the concept of like the time travel crystal shit.
Right, right. And I think it's really I think I here's the thing, this is what I realized from watching the trailer is that this movie is definitely at least going to be made by people that are Star Wars fans. I think that's very clear, and that's what excites me most of all.
But Dom, are they Star Wars holiday special fans?
They might be. They must have been to try to reboot the thing. Either that or they're not and they're trying to redeem the holiday special. So
Maybe.
fun fact, first appearance of Boba Fett was in the Star Wars holiday special.
Was it?
Yeah.
God damn it.
So,
I've never seen this. I've never seen the holiday special, and I probably never will.
yeah, it's torture. Yeah, so Boba Fett
You know what?
was
No. I retract that statement. For the holiday season, we have to do it.
yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe we should do a prelude into the for the new holiday special. You know what I mean?
I'm about that. As much
Yeah.
as I don't want to watch the original holiday special, I think we should do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. Gonna be
Let's do
rough.
it anyway. Go on.
You
I'm
know what
sorry.
would
Let's
be
talk.
really fun? I don't know. We'll
What?
see how it all goes because like it's really gonna depend on how the new one turns out. But
What would
like
be really
a
fun?
compare and contrast episode on both of them would
Let's
be pretty
do it.
cool.
Let's do it nonetheless.
All
Let's
right.
just do it because the holidays are coming up. Let's live in the spirit.
All right. All right, man. All right. We'll do it. We'll do it. All right. Announced here. Don't have a date for you guys, but we will, closer to the holidays, before Christmas, we'll do a compare and contrast episode of the Lego Star Wars 2 Star Wars holiday specials, and we'll see which ones turns out better. I can tell you the prediction right now.
Hands down, because Adam loves Christmas so much, we have to have Adam on, no matter what.
Oh, not only that, because he hates the holiday special as much as he does. That's the other reason we have to have him on, because we got to torture him.
Oh, Adam, I'm so sorry for this. It's happening.
Not officially for Adam, for the audience, but we're going to try to talk to him. See if we can get him. Listen, hey man, I don't know. I feel like if I tell him it's for the show, it's for the comedy of it, I think he'll do it, but we'll see.
I think he will. Hands down.
um,
We'll see, guys.
He might join the second half of that when we're talking about the new holiday special. That's what he's going to join.
Look, if Mark and I can watch episode 8 again, he can watch the holiday special again.
I don't think I've ever asked Mark what he thinks of the holiday special, and for some reason I'm very afraid that his answer is going to be that he enjoys it.
I think he loves it. I think it's one of his favorite films ever.
Guys, listen, man. Listen. Film is subjective. This is a message I want to give to the audience right now. Film is subjective. But the holiday special being bad is fact. There's no subjective opinion on it or disputing it. That holiday special being a tremendous piece of shit is the only thing that is bad. Ian, listen, man, I know that I'm never going to math well. I know that I'm never going to be a millionaire. I'm never going to figure out how to be a millionaire. There's a lot of things that, I'm not confident in, but I am confident that the Star Wars Holiday Special is actually legally a piece of shit. Like, it's a fact. Like,
Have you seen the movie The Room?
Of course, it's also a piece of shit, but it's a piece of shit that's tolerable.
Okay, so the holiday special is worse.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. The Room is like, it's so bad it's funny. So I could genuinely see somebody being like, "Of course, I enjoy watching The Room. It cracks me up." The holiday special is next level horse shit.
Real quick interjection. If you ever get the chance to watch The Room, this is for all of you, actually. Not just you, Dom, but this is for all of you. If you ever get the chance to watch The Room on a Tommy Wiseau tour, fucking do it.
I've been invited a few times, and I've always been busy when they've been going on, but
no. Fuck your plans. I don't care if you have work. Call off. Be like, yo, I'm really, really sick. Get into a tuxedo and go.
Do it. Yeah, okay.
Hands down, do it.
All right. Do it! Thank you, Shia. Okay, so we got to do, so we're going to move into this final story. This is the biggest news that's happened and the most what the fuck news that we've had in a while. Ian, these are strange times we're living in. We got Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. What else we got? We got Ben Affleck coming back as Batman after...
What?
What do you mean, what?
I haven't heard this news.
Were you not on the show that day?
I might not have been.
You may not have been a part of this yet. Yeah, so Michael Keaton is coming back for Batman in the I'm going to talk to you about this after the show because we're almost done anyway.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a lot to explain, but but anyway, yeah, we got that. We got we just got multiple crazy things that are happening in the world right now. Most crazy is they drop an announcement about a Boba Fett series, but they say it starts shooting next week. What the hell? So, Ian, how do you feel about that?
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm super loud, but yes.
All right. Here's the thing, guys. I've said this before. I'm not a huge Boba Fett fan. With the info we got at the end of Mando, you can win me over on being a Boba Fett fan, though, because that sets up a story. Mando's got Boba Fett's armor. That's going to be a big problem for Boba. Boba's going to want that armor back. Boba knows Mando has it.
All I got to say is I'm not a big Boba Fett fan either, but anything that will be substantial to fan stories, fans wants and needs, I'm all about.
Right.
Because that builds on the story of the world.
Well, that's why I was happy he came back at the end of that last episode of Mando, because it's like, well, the fans are going to be so excited. So I'm excited that they're excited, Because
there's a spoiler alert for everybody.
Well, I hope you've watched it by now.
Fair enough. Go on, I'm sorry.
But we have to bring it up because it's And plus, dude, I've been going through Facebook. Every article I see is, "Oh, Boba Fett's back. Boba Fett's back." It's
I actually have not seen a single thing.
Lucky you. But my point is that I'm excited because the fans are excited now. Now, there's been I don't know how they're going to do this series, or there's going to be we had that announcement. Long ass time ago about Josh Trank was going to direct a Boba Fett movie, and then what was it? Josh Trank was going to direct a Boba Fett movie. His Fantastic Four movie comes out and flops miserably, so they take Josh Trank off the Boba Fett movie. But the Josh Trank idea was cool because they were going to have a scene where I believe it was in Josh Trank's script where Han crossed paths with Boba Fett and Solo, and they were going to do that very same scene in the Boba Fett movie, except it was going to be from Boba's perspective. Obviously, they're not going to go with that idea now since Boba's not in Solo. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the Boba Fett series takes place. I'm assuming it's in the Mandalorian post Return of the Jedi timeline. If it shows up in the Solo era timeline, I mean, it would be cool to see him and Han cross paths just for a brief second. That'd be an interesting way to do it, but I'm assuming it's what they just set up in Mandalorian. I'm assuming it's that timeline. However, I'm going to be upset if we never see Boba Fett in the Mandalorian series again, because then it just kind of feels like a cop out. You know what I mean? Too. So it's like
it could just be slight advert.
Yeah, I just want a balance of both, I guess. So yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. It was surprising news to me that, hey, here's this. We're going to shoot it next week. It was just interesting. And then even after the Josh Trank announcement, a few years back or whatever, there was even an announcement that James Mangold was going to do a Boba Fett movie, which I was really behind because Mangold did Logan. And if Mangold did a Boba Fett the same way he did a Logan movie where it's just Boba Fett tearing people to shreds for an hour and a half, go ahead, man. I'm for that. But
I have not seen the Logan movie.
What?
I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it had to do with the fact that I just do not like Fox.
You gotta watch this movie, man.
I'll watch it. I'll give it a shot.
Watch it for Jay's.
I've heard good things.
Mangold, dude, is like, the way he approached this is, it's the best X-Men movie. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's undisputable. I mean, if you enjoy the idea of like taking what they did with Joker, I'm not saying it's as good as Joker. It's not. But if you enjoy the idea of what they did with Joker, kind of taking the character and giving it a real dark, gritty take, yeah, watch this movie because Logan did the same type of thing. Yeah. Anyway, my point was, this project's it's come and gone a couple times, so it's like now that's finally going to happen. The fans are going to be so thrilled, and I'm so glad it's in a series because for the people like you and I that aren't massive on Boba Fett, it gives us time to win us over.
It definitely wins me over.
This is the way to do it, man. I'm telling you. Man, give me these Disney Plus Star Wars series all day. I don't know if I say they're probably just going to start making these things year round. I mean,
I'm cool with that. I'm hands down cool with that. I think that's a fantastic idea. Now, I have a lot of friends who hate Disney and refuse to watch any of the Disney Star Wars movies or anything Disney Star Wars related.
Yeah.
But hands down, I feel like getting regular Disney series like that just builds on top of the Star Wars lore is an amazing idea. Yeah. I can't even talk.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, you got to realize, like, this is basically what we're getting to, because what we're going to have here is, okay, so we're going to have Mandalorian Season 2. That's going to wrap up. Then what are we going to get? We're going to get the holiday special, which isn't canon, but still something fun having to do with Star Wars.
And that we're going to touch base on in one of our shows.
All right. Yeah, exactly. We're going to have that, it's still Star Wars, so it's exciting. Then after that, we're going to have the Boba Fett series probably shortly after. I mean, it's going to come up here pretty quick, I would imagine. That's going to fill out probably toward the beginning of next year. Then in the summertime, I would imagine, we're going to have the Obi-Wan series release. Well, it won't be summertime. It'll probably be maybe more toward the end of the year, but that'll run in probably in conjunction with Mando Season 3. So it's like we're going to have this overload of Star Wars that's, it's going to be a lot of Star Wars. It's fun. And, they're filming these things these series at like real movie quality, man. I mean, they're pumping a lot of money into these things, and it's really going to be an amazing way to sit down and watch Star Wars. And it's going to be a way to watch Star Wars the way that we never dreamed we'd be able to watch it, and we're going to have more Star Wars than what we know what to do with this Boba Fett announcement. Right. So, I don't know, man. I really hope that they make it really fun for people and the fans that really want to see Boba Fett, and it was the news that definitely surprised me today. But yeah, guys, listen, this has been fun. This has been a really fun show. We gotta get going here though. So thank you for joining. Important guys, please hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, and leave your feedback in the comments section. Make it constructive, but it really does help. Also, I want to thank Ian Schick for being here today. Ian, where can the people find you?
Well, thank you for having me, by the way. I hope to be on here as long as possible, but you can find me on Instagram as Jutacular Ian, and you can also find me on YouTube as Jutacular Ian. And I know I keep talking about uploading videos, but I am in the process of recording some music and covers and whatnot to put on YouTube. So if you want to hear me try to sing, there you go.
All right, man. Sounds great. And please do check out everything that he's doing. And thank you guys for tuning in today again. I've been Don Martino, and I'll be leaving all my info in this description below, along with everything that Ian just mentioned. So, listen, guys, it's been fun. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys again on Wednesday. So we'll see you then. All right. Thank you for joining. Bye bye.